So I'm not sure how this audio's turned. All right, so storage unit locked. Nothing was stolen. Damn it, camera's there. I got to put a sticker right where that camera is so I know not to look at the big red button for record, but actually look at the absolutely invisible camera on the iPhone that has no light or icon of where to look. Heads up, Apple, try to do that. That would help a lot of us YouTubers, especially us new ones. Storage unit locked. Nothing stolen, thank God. And we're gonna try this again and head back to work so I can squat and fill you guys in. Again, I'm not sure how much of this audio is actually really good. And this is just a test run, but forgive me for rambling on. I'm just trying to fill in the content here so you guys can get a picture of what I've been going through. So I was working for the parking authority, right? I was supervisor for the maintenance department and for the enforcement department, walking to work for the past 2 years while working there. So the operations manager, who was above me, and our boss, who is the parking authority director, I guess. Yeah, director. Pulled me into the office and convinced me to purchase a car. They're like, we want you to get a car. I'm like, okay, why? You just should have one. You should have one. You should have a car. I'm like, okay, that's weird. Okay, I'll look into it. So while that's going on, my dad is also pressuring me to get a car so that I could take care of my mom a little bit easier, which made sense. But while I was taking care of my mom, you know, we would use Uber. I had extra money because I was walking. I didn't have that bill. But we would use Uber, if we needed something. The grocery store was 2 blocks away, so I'd walk to the grocery store. And anytime she had to go get her infusions or chemo at the hospital, they would come pick her up and they would drop her off. So I didn't need a vehicle, and I loved that. And the plus side of it was I was getting a ton of exercise. Every day I was walking to work 1.5 miles, and I was in tip-top shape. So fast forward, they pull me in, they convince me to get a car. My dad is now pressuring me to get a car to help my mom out more. Nobody's understanding I got this all figured out, but they all want me to get a car anyway. So credit was crappy, so my dad said he, co-signed with me, and we both put a couple of G's down to get this Prius 2013 V. Okay. Now, what he didn't know at the time was I was getting into the idea of car camping with the vehicle I had before the Prius, which was my Subaru 2003 Forester. I might have a picture of that. I'll throw it up here. But I had that garaged, and I wasn't using it because I didn't have to car camp because I had a 4-bedroom apartment for my mother and I, and it was comfortable for her, and she needed it. Plus, she needed help paying for the rent, so we kind of split the bills down the middle. So what happened is because the Subaru, long story short, I blew the engine. Racing to work one day, which was when I was teaching piano, which was about an hour drive out to Jersey. All right. So, it was, let's see. Yeah. I was racing out to Jersey for a piano lesson. And I blew the engine, basically being stupid with a very old car. And that was my fault. So instead of junking it, I garaged it for future repairs and hopefully riding. And that's kind of what landed me into walking. And I'm figuring it out how to sustain myself. So I had to get a job close to work. The parking authority was 1.5 miles away. It's a no-brainer. They were hiring, went in. I started as a maintenance worker and moved up the ladder to supervisor of maintenance. And then they saw me doing well with the maintenance department, so they gave me the enforcement department to supervise as well. And that was no easy task. And one of the hardest parts about that was I had to carry probably about 5 phones. I had a phone for each department. I had my personal phone, I had my supervisor phones, and then I had, no wait, that's it. So that was 5. So it was my phone, my personal phone, supervisor for maintenance phone, supervisor for maintenance phone, enforcement phone. Then they had the help desk phone, right? And then, yeah, four phones, 4. So I had to be on top of all that and report back. Very difficult job. Very difficult, but I enjoyed it. So they coerced me to get this car. Get the car finally. I'm driving around. 2 weeks after I get the car, COVID hits, right? They start laying everybody off. So we all get laid off, but with the promise to get hired back when things settle down. So we all get hired back. And then basically, snow hits really bad out. Can't even drive in it. So I decide to walk to work because of the storm, and I'm late because I'm like knee deep in this snow. I forget what year it was. 2 years ago was the snowstorm, and it was horrible. Like, it was so bad that people went by on skis. 2 people went by me on skis, and I'm sitting there like picking my legs up out of this fucking like really, really high like levels of snow trying to walk to work. And I'm like, shit, this is ridiculous. I call the guy that was on the clock at the time, and I said, hey, I know the streets aren't shoveled yet. Do you think you can make it close to my house to pick me up? Because I can't even get through the snow. I'm stuck on the corner. I couldn't even move. The wind was so bad. The snow was so high, almost up to my waist. Dennis was his name, and Dennis agreed to come get me because he had one of the trucks, which was our pickup trucks, we can get through snow. So he comes up to the top of Wyandotte, is the name of the street, and it's like a highway, and then a cross street, and I was on the corner waiting for him. So he comes up the street, I see him coming, he hardly can see me, I'm waving him down because the snow's coming down like crazy. He picks me up, I get in the truck. So I think I was maybe an hour, 2 hours late. Mind you, just before then, I called the operations manager and let him know, like, hey, it's really, really bad. I don't think I'm gonna make it to work. And he was upset at me. Oh, what do you mean you can't make it to work? You must be fucking out of your mind. Fair enough. And that's why I decided to try and high step my way to work. And it did work. It got to the point where me trying to high step to work made me an hour or so late. So Dennis came and got me, got to work, whatever. We got the shoveling, we got the salting, we got the roads and the parking lots all cleared up for people to park in the garages, shoveled the sidewalks. We did everything we needed to do to get the storm out the way. So 2 weeks later, I get pulled into the office with another supervisor and the operations manager, and Brian, we're sorry, we're letting you go. Like, what? Why are you letting me go? It was because I was tardy to work for the snow, because of the snowstorm. I was late to work for the snowstorm. There were some other things. I complained about having 4 phones, and I gave one of the maintenance guys that at the time, Justin, him and another new guy were painting, I think, and I had the 4 phones, and I said, hey, Justin, could you guys just go ahead and hold this maintenance phone, which rings probably every hour or so because somebody has to get help because they're stuck in the garage, the gate won't go up, they lost their ticket, the credit card got stuck. We had to go and get that credit card out the machine so these people can leave the garage. So that was the maintenance phone that would constantly ring, and I had these 3 other phones I had to maintain, and I said, Justin, can you do me a favor? Just hold the maintenance phone for me this shift. I got my hands full with enforcement because I had to go around and check people's tickets, make sure people are writing tickets, things of that nature. And of course, he said, no problem. I said, listen, I said, if the operations manager has a problem with it, you let him know I gave it to you just because I need to lighten my load, and I'll deal with it. So he took it. Now, mind you, it's typical for the maintenance department to hold that phone. It is the maintenance guy's department or responsibility to take care of the customers that hit the button at the gate. It rings that cell phone for emergency assistance. And that's what they're used to doing anyway. It just so happens that these guys were painting, and the operations manager gave me the phone to hold while they were painting. Here, I'm thinking they're done painting because I see them coming back to the garage. Who knows? Maybe they were on break. My head was all over the place at the time I saw them. I thought maybe they were done with paint. Maybe they weren't. I don't know. But I was on my way out of the garage, and I said, hey, can you guys hold the maintenance phone for the rest of the shift? I get it. If it's a problem, just, tell if the operations manager doesn't agree with it and is mad at me about it, I'll deal with it later. I got to go and run and take care of this enforcement side, right? Because I'm running two different departments. And I'm like, look, you guys look like you're freed up. Just hold the phone, take care of that while I'm taking care of this. I thought it was something normal. It's my job to delegate these kind of jobs as needed. And at this time, I felt it was needed to delegate that. So I thought I was doing what I was supposed to be doing, but apparently I wasn't, because that was a part of the write-up. Apparently, I was not doing the right thing by delegating that back to the maintenance department. And I got written up for that. It was a 3 write-up situation. And because of that, they let me go. It was something else that was just untrue. I can't remember what it was. So I was like, can I fight this? Like, because I need to push back, because I've been doing everything I've been told to do. It sounds like you're writing me up for really about the snowstorm, which I couldn't make it to work. I could humanly possible could not in any capacity make it work. So bad I had to call Dennis to come get me because the snow was that bad. I couldn't drive my regular car through it. It took a 4x4 to get through the snow, and I don't have a 4x4. I've got a Prius, and I needed him to come pick me up to get through the snow. So yeah, I was late to work, but I'd never been late before, and I've never called off before. So let's take that into account. And then he's like, well, you gave the maintenance guys the maintenance phone when I specifically told you to hold it. And I was like, you handed me the phone on the way out. You didn't tell me to hold it. You gave it to me. Like, yeah, I'm supervisor over maintenance. I'll hold the phone. But when I can find one of the maintenance guys to take the phone from me so that they can take care of the emergencies while I take care of other stuff, that's what I'm going to do, because that's what a supervisor does. They delegate the jobs that need to be done according to the day, So I felt I was doing my job, and here they're letting me go now for doing my job. And I know I could fight it. I know it's something that I think I was falsely I was falsely let go. I forget the name of that, but there's a word for it. And I'm not going to make it racial, but I was the only African American male supervisor that the parking authority has ever had, mind you, for 2 different departments, and I'll probably be the last one. And I think I did my job exceptionally well. And I think they let me go because the parking authority was hurting in the old pocketbook. Think about it. It's COVID. The way we make our money is when you park and put your money in the meters, or when you park and forget to put money in the meters. Nobody was out parking because it was COVID. This was the lockdown. And, the governor, the mayor, they have to get their numbers, and they pressure our boss, the director, to pressure us to get more tickets. And if they can't get the tickets and squeeze it out of the people, then they got to start cutting people off. And I'd rather them be honest with me like that and say, yo, we got to let you go because you make too much money and we're hurting for money. And although you run 2 different departments for us and you've never called off, except for the one attempt you tried to call off for a snowstorm, we have to let you go. I would rather have them been that way, like honest with me that way, and I would at least had respect for the operations manager. But because he did not do it that way, I feel that I was falsely terminated. And maybe one day I'll fight it. Maybe one day I won't, but maybe this is the way I'll fight it. Just be aware that sometimes things happen to you, and you don't always have to fight it in that moment. Your time will come. So, needless to say, I was let go from the parking authority, falsely, I believe. And I was left with being jobless. Now, mind you, this is the lockdown, so nobody's like hiring, right? Well, let's say it's right after the lockdown, because people started reopening a little bit. It was a slow reopen for everybody. Nobody was hiring. Nobody was going out. So I'm jobless now. So now I have to collect unemployment. So I tried to collect unemployment, and I couldn't collect unemployment. They screwed me there because I was terminated. Insubordination was the termination. And because of that, I couldn't collect unemployment. So I was double screwed. Now I got my mother battling cancer at the house, right? Rent is due, right? Which plus utilities probably about $1,400. Now I got a new car and a car payment that they talked me into and then let me go 2 weeks later. You know, it's like, I'm trying to make this shit make sense. So I'm left with a car, my mom, bills out the wazoo. I started thinking about car camping. Because there's no way I'm going to be able to keep this thing afloat. No way. So I start trying to get my mom to figure out her arrangements and where she's going to live and things of that nature. We figured that out. Now I'm thinking about my arrangements. My girlfriend's helping me. She's staying with me and like figuring out how we're going to do this. We did some test runs in the car. Thankfully, the Prius is a hybrid. Now, going back a bit, I did some research on car camping, and the car campers that are in hybrids tend to be more comfortable because of the climate control. So with the climate control, if I set it to 65, then the car regulates the engine to maintain 65 the entire night, and the engine will cut off when it hits 65. If it goes up in temperature, it'll cool the car down until it gets back down to 65, and it will cut the engine off. If it gets too cold, vice versa, it does the same thing. It'll heat it up and then turn it off when it gets to 65. So the Prius is very cost efficient. So that helped out. Girlfriend stayed in the car with me the first couple of months. Well, really up to a year. I think she was in the car with me for a year because we went all through winter together. We had sleeping bags that were rated below 6 degrees or 7 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're good there. We tested the idea of making panels for the windows, what material to use. We finally decided to use the insulation panels that they use for the roofs of houses, inside the roofs of houses. And I'll show you guys that in another video. But I really wanted to just get to the point of why this all came about, how this all came about, and where I'm at now. So where I'm at now is 2 years later. I've been car camping and doing well. Every night sleeping in a car for the last 2 years. This winter will actually be three years. And I don't have plans on moving out of the car because I'm saving so much money. So you guys do the math. I mean, if you can cut your rent out, you can cut your utilities out. How much money would you have still in your pocket? Well, that's my life. For the last 2.5 years has been my life. And I love it because I can eat anywhere I want. I can, do whatever I want. I can buy the things I wasn't able to buy before. And there's some financial freedom. And it also gets you stable after a while because you have so much money left over. It's like, wow, I can start investing, I can start saving, doing whatever you want to do, which I do. And we'll talk in other videos. But car camping is becoming a norm, and there are more car campers popping up in the lots that I'd stay in on a daily basis. New campers that I meet, even at work, people finding out about me car camping and asking me questions like, how do you do it? What are you doing? So how it's done is, I have my back seat down. In another video, I'll show you guys all the stuff in the back. It's a mess right now. You don't want to see it right now. But I sleep in the back. Main questions I get is, how do you shower? Well, I have a Planet Fitness Black card. I used to be an assistant manager for Planet Fitness, and I've worked for Planet Fitness throughout my years as a regular employee. But the Black card, I think I spent like $25 on the Black card. They're open 24 hours, 24/5, right? And I shower there every morning, and then I get my massages, and then I get back in the car. And then I go hang out with my girlfriend and her kids, and I exercise, I walk, that's really it. And then for entertainment, I have my iPad, which I put on my steering wheel. Let me see if I can find, yeah. So I use this thingy, which goes on my steering wheel, right? And my iPad, unfortunately, is all the way in the back because I've been moving stuff around to get this YouTube thing ready. But in any case, I put my iPad here. I have Call of Duty Mobile, and I play Call of Duty Mobile right here. I watch TV right here. I watch YouTube right here. I lean back. I put in my windshield. I can show you guys these because it's just right here. My windshield covers come right down. I have a bungee above me, and these come down. They pop right in just like this. All right. And this is the first thing I do when I park. Boom. Now that the sun is covered, you know what I'm saying? Then I put my panels in, and I'm ready to just chill. Right? I put my emergency brake on, just because the car will sometimes have this weird little rattle. At least Priuses. If you Prius owners out there know what I'm talking about. If you don't put on the emergency brake, you'll get this muffler rattle, right? And it'll wake you up because it's kind of aggressive. But the car only cuts on for about 5 minutes and cuts back off just to regulate the temperature that I set for the cab. So, but yeah, that's about it, guys. I mean, I just wanted to give you a brief, heads up on what I've been up to the last 2 years. I'm also doing business in this car. I'm making beats. You can look me up, B-Skills 973. That's BSKILLS 973, which is probably going to be up here on my YouTube channel. And I might make a separate car camping channel just because it's, it might be easier to find, but I may not. I might just leave it right here on B-Skills 973. I also have another channel called Freedom Works Abroad. Freedom Works Abroad, and it has a lot to do with this, because now I have the money to go abroad. But that channel I'm not gonna pump with content until I get abroad. My passport has no stamps, but when I get the first one, you'll see content on that page. Also check out my other music, by my other artists. I have 9 of them. I'll put here for you guys to check out. I make I forget, I tend to struggle with what to call it because I sleep to it. I'm inspired by it. They're just instrumentals. But I listen to them while I'm doing creative things, and it helps my imagination. So I call them imagination boosters. And they're just instrumental tracks that I've made and that I've put up. I put up about 300 instrumentals a month. And I've been doing that for the past couple of months. Before then, I was doing a lot of hip-hop beats. But I find myself in this... I'm finding myself spending my time improving my imagination, feeding my imagination, giving my ears the sounds that spark creativity. if that makes sense. You can listen to someone's song and enjoy their creativity, right? Not everybody does that. I have a million artists I listen to because I love what they create. But what I wanted to make was music that influences their creativity, like music that feeds their creativity, music that will make them feel more creative, if that makes sense. And the only way that you can actually understand what I'm saying is by going and taking a listen to a couple of those tracks, okay? And hopefully you feel inspired when you hear them. When you hear them, I hope you feel like jumping up and going on an adventure. That's what these tracks I designed to do. I designed these tracks to do just that, is to make your imagination go wild. What is this about? What could fit into this music? I want to listen to this music while I drive, while I skydive, while I ride my bike, while I'm fishing, while I'm drawing, while I'm making music myself. Like, I wanted to create music that inspires. My own creativity, like music that comes from me and my life, that is my creative product. That is my creative environment. I'm giving you my environment in a music form, right? That's B Skills 973. But my other music has nothing to do with me, if that makes sense. I've completely eliminated my influence on that music. It is solely, it's like, okay, fair enough. It has my instrumental choosings and the way I mix it and the way I want it to sound ultimately at the end of the day. Yes, that is part of me, how I like to hear it. But I didn't design it, how can I say? It's not egotistical. It's not about me. It's not about me. I want it to be about tweaking your imagination knobs and making you want to do something with it, right? Maybe you want to sample it. Maybe you want to make your own like it. Maybe it inspires you to make your own creations. And that was the focus of it, if that makes sense. I wanted to eliminate myself and create music that inspires solely from whatever that is. Like, not for me. Like, you could be inspired by me all day. I got music out there all day. You can look at my my Instagram. I put beats up. I put verses up. I put hooks up. I got a lot of content out there that you may feel inspired by. I personally feel like it's my musical diary. My music is my musical diary. But this music that I'm talking about here, like the Bad Speaker, the Warrior's Edge, A Hero's Song, The Fire Within, all of these other artists I created, and the sound that comes from them is not about me. I don't know how else to explain it. I wanted it to be about feeding your emotions and feeding your imagination to help you be more creative, if that makes sense. In any case, guys, I'm crazy like that. This is why I car camp, because I'm just crazy. But give it a listen. Try it out. I mean, try it out. Listen to it and see what it does to you, right? And see if your imagination turns on. That's the whole point. I want your imagination to turn on, and I want you to be able to feel imagined. Now, I sleep to it. I drive to it. I work out to it. It seems to fit every moment in life, and that's what I wanted it to do. If you feel down, you can listen to this and be lifted. If you feel uncreative, this will help you to be more creative. If you don't know what to do with your time, turn my music on, not B Skills 973, but one of these other 9 artists on, and it will get you inspired to do something with your time. It will. And it's awesome. you know, and listen to it when you sleep, because you'll have great dreams from it. I have, and that's why I listen to it. In any case, guys, I hope I didn't over talk. I hope I didn't scare you guys away. More to come. I'm just a car camper, doing something different than the norm. The American dream is dead, or it's been remixed, and it's car camping. Deuces.